Yo, like, comment, subscribe. Here we go.
That's my baby.
I'm dying.
That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they did it. They did it.
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
What the fuck are you talking about?
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is another edition of the Phlite Zone. Phlite Zone is brought to you by Body Check Wellness. It is a line of products that promotes wellness, balance, and recovery by using the full potential of hemp. They come in extracts, blends, gummies, topicals, you name it, they have it. Use the promo code A2D. Get 20% off your order at bodycheckwellness.com. Now we got business. We took care of the business, and we got some other business to take care of. Can the Phillies still make the playoffs? That is not the poll for this week. The poll for this week is, should we be worried about the bench for the playoffs this year? Because over the past 3 games, Sixers have struggled coming off the bench. The plus and minus has been horrendous. We got some Phillies to talk about tonight. We are going to be talking heavy Sixers, heavy Phillies. The poll is, we should be worried about the Sixers bench production for the playoffs. I heavily agree. I was under that assumption going into the trade deadline when everybody was just telling us to just pump the brakes. We're fine. Our bench is fine. We got Ferk God Korkmaz. We got Shake Milton, who's the next coming of Lou Williams. We got the Flyers celebrating, saying saying goodbye to their fans at the Wells Fargo tonight as they just beat the Devils 4-2.
Wow.
I'd boo him right off the ice if I was at the Wells Fargo Center right now. It was just a monstrosity of just terrible. Just absolutely terrible. Everybody on that roster should be ashamed of themselves.
They should.
Joel Farabee maybe is the only one that has some light, but everybody else, Kevin Hayes, Claude Giroux. I know Claude Giroux had a good season statistically, and I know I'm jumping all over the place as usual, but I just saw that as were saying goodbye to the fans at the Wells Fargo Center. It was just such a pitiful season.
Yep.
When we were doing our Phlite Zone podcast on the other network, the Flyers were the light of our life. They really were. They brought us out of the pandemic. They got us through the pandemic with the playoff run that they had last year. They got through first series, and just like that, when the expectations are high, they fold it. Mm-hmm. They fold it.
Every Philadelphia team seems to do that. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. You can't really be surprised in this business as like with Philly sports. Your expectations could be at an all-time high, and they'll find a way. They'll find a way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. And how you doing tonight, Evan?
I'm doing just peachy, man. Yeah, the Flyers win. It's a great day, right? And a game they don't have to win. It's all right though. I'm just looking forward to the Sixers playoffs and the Phillies. Can we just win one series against an NL East team? Just one, at least.
Dude, we're going to get into the Phillies later on to the show. That's going to be our second half, and I'm pumped up. As mad as they made me this weekend, they've just made me just pissed off over the past decade. From the time I was 11 years old, they've had me in this attitude, this mindset of negativity. Mm-hmm. Bad things happen in Philadelphia.
Very true.
They just ruined my happiness. But at the same time, we are due in Philadelphia to just be happy. And I say that going into every single sports season. That's why I try to remain optimistic, just because of all the pain that we felt in our 21 young years. We felt so much pain. And going into each season, whether it's the Flyers this year, I thought this year we were going to Eastern Conference Finals or bust for the Flyers this year. Didn't happen. I'll call it again next year because we're due. We haven't won a fucking cup since '75. We haven't been relevant since 2010. Mm. I say it with the Phillies this year. 2011 happened. You lose 2-1, or it was a 1-0 game against the Cardinals.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. 2-1, 1-0 game, whatever the hell it was. Ryan Howard blows his Achilles, and it just blows the Phillies over the next decade. Mm-hmm. Every single year, I'll say it. It's playoffs or bust, because if you make it to the playoffs, anything can happen in any single sport. And you've seen that in the city before. Mm-hmm. You have. Even in the NBA, when the Sixers were an 8th seed, They go up against the Bulls. Derrick Rose tears his ACL, but you still beat the 1 seed as the 8 seed.
Yeah, and you
So-
can even say that for the Eagles. Like they had their home field advantage throughout the playoffs. I wouldn't say necessarily they were supposed to win, but they found a way. And usually teams can do that if they're that good. They just find a way to make it through the next round. They take it one game at a time, one play at a time, and it's something that each team has to get through. I hope the Phillies don't have to. If we can make a playoff spot and not a wild card spot, because that one game, like, we are not clutch whatsoever. Like, I can see us taking a team in maybe like 5 games, but not when it comes down to just one game. I don't know.
Yeah.
Even with the pitchers we have, I just don't know.
Oh, people are roasting us in the comments right now, but yeah, we don't know any better. I was born in '99, so I didn't get to see the 5-game. I didn't see game 1. I don't remember game 1 of the 2000-2001 finals, Sixers Lakers. I don't remember that, but I know we lost 4 straight after that, and that must have sucked really hard. But losing NFC Championship game after NFC Championship game, which I witnessed, remember with my own eyes. You talk about the Phillies where you have that World Series run, you win the World Series, and then the very next year you lose the World Series to the Yankees. The very next year you lose the NLCS to the Giants, and then the very next year you lose the NLDS to the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
The teams that you lost to all won the World Series. There's nothing you could do about it. You lost to the best team. Yeah. But ever since then, the Phillies have just been terrible. They've been absolutely terrible.
They have been.
Like, they've been irrelevant in our lives.
Yeah. They go on stretches where they're really good, and then they go on the stretch like after they do well. It's every Philly team. And after a championship, I mean, with the exception of when the Phillies won 2008 and then they got back 2009, but like a year or 2 after that, you just become so irrelevant like the Eagles did.
Well, yeah.
I agree with you guys, Chrome and Brian.
Well, I have a little bone to pick with you guys, but go ahead. Go ahead, Evan.
All right, so I do feel for like the older Philly fans because like we haven't won jack shit. I guess you could say this is the golden era, you could say, of Philly sports, since it was only about 10 years from the Phillies and the Eagles championship. But yeah, I kind of feel for the older generations. Like I feel for the older generations though, going through all that with no championship. You guys did have the Flyers. Some of you guys, it depends. But I do feel, because my parents talk about all the time, like I have it so good just for watching an Eagles championship or just one championship, let alone 2. But I feel. So.
Chrome, you just keep on saying all this stuff. First of all, Villanova isn't in Philadelphia. So I'm Temple pride. I will give you that. I am a Penn State fan, but I'm Temple all the way when it comes to basketball. And when it comes to the McNabb Reed era, maybe I'm ungrateful, but I didn't really like McNabb. I didn't. Maybe I should start appreciating Reed a little bit. But all I remember for them is just taking us there, this close, and just failing. And then just absolutely falling on your face and failing. Like, if you had McNabb, who was so good, and you had Brian Westbrook, who was debatably a top 10 running back during that era, and you had a top 5 defense every single year, and you just continued to lose, it's just lose. That's pain. 4 NFC championship games that you lost. That's 1 Super Bowl that you lost. And then you bring us the Chip Kelly era where you give us a pinch of hope. And then just like that, after one playoff game, we go back to mediocrity.
I feel like there was, for the older generation, there was no hope in Philly. But now we get the ounce of hope, and we just get it we just get sucker punched. It's like winning the lottery and just dying right after. Like I don't even know.
That's what this past Super Bowl was. Because after that Super Bowl, what did we have? Let's just reminisce. We had Philadelphia Phillies collapses.
The Kawhi shot.
We had the Kawhi shot. We had Philadelphia Phillies collapses in August and September when it came to Kapler, because you were in first place the whole summer, and then all of a sudden you just collapse. Flyers have been irrelevant, with the exception of the playoff run last year. And then you want to talk about the Sixers. You went from 10-72, just terrible basketball play, where Drew Holiday was probably all right. Andre Iguodala, Drew Holiday were our two best players since Allen Iverson until Joe and Ben came.
Mm-hmm.
It was just average basketball teams. And
Yeah.
average isn't good enough for me. It's pain.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't win a championship, it's pain.
Yeah.
Especially since I could count how many championships we've had since 1974. You got 2 with the Flyers. You got 1 with the Sixers. You got 2 with the Phillies. And you got 1 with the Eagles. Like, come on.
Yeah. I don't even know how to explain it. I can feel pain for. I know we all go through. Maybe it's a little bit different pain for someone else, but at the end of the day, you're still getting bullied as an Eagles fan, only having 1 ring. Like we've been going through that our whole lives. They just won like 3 years ago, so it's not like I've been through. It's like I haven't been through anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, the early '80s was probably the golden age of the Philadelphia sports.
Yeah,
I know the '90s sucked. All they had was I guess they had Randall for a couple of years, and then the late '90s was terrible. Mid to late '90s was terrible, and then you had the Phillies make the playoff run in '93. Other than that, they didn't really have anything. '80s was really good. 2000s was NFC Championship game after NFC Championship game. But besides that, you had an Allen Iverson run Sixers team. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. And then when you come to the late 2000s, that's when the Phillies came out. I don't know. 2000. All I know is the 2010s fucking sucked, with the exception of the Eagles. And with the exception of that Super Bowl run, the Eagles have been mediocre.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Sixers process it sucked. Like there's not really a process ever. I mean, I'd rather have a 5-year rebuild than have 10 years of mediocrity, like the Magic have been through the last few years, like the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks are getting back at it now, but just I'd rather go through those 5 years of pain and just not wanting to watch any of it, just to have a chance the few years after. But I really don't know. I can't really compare.
Yeah. I have some knowledge with my grandfather showing me the Buddy Ryan ages of the Eagles. I have some knowledge with him showing me the Broad Street Bullies. But I do know the mid to late 2000s inside out, and I know all the 2010s. And all I know is I've just gone into every single season optimistic, going from playoffs to we're going to make the championship to we're going to win the championship. And Brian, this is my point. There's always hope. But it's always the same as it was now, as it was freaking 20 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. I don't even know how we went off on this tangent, but
I really don't know either.
But let's go back to the poll for the day. And the poll is we're going to talk Sixers for this first hour. Next hour, we're going to go heavy Phillies, and we might sneak a little Eagles in. I haven't decided. I hate the Eagles. I love them, but I hate them. You want to talk about a team that just brought my hopes down for Philadelphia sports in general? It's the Philadelphia freaking Eagles. Because every single time I think about it, all these people just saying, "Oh, it's time to build around Jalen." They're just trying to give us a false hope. You already had a franchise quarterback that half of the fan base just ran out of town, and you didn't do a damn thing for. And now all of a sudden, all these people are thinking, "Hey, we're going to build around Jalen Hurts, who you originally drafted to be a backup quarterback." Like I hate to be the Debbie Downer. I never wanted to be a Debbie Downer. I've always been an optimist, and nobody knows this. None of our really fans our new fans of A2D know this, but I've always been an optimist.
You have.
But the Eagles have just killed me. Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman killed me. And maybe this is why I'm down on the Sixers right now with the bench production. Maybe it's a ripple effect from what the Eagles have done.
I agree. It's really the Eagles are the worst with it because we've seen how successful we can be, and then like just the fact that our team went from being the best and then 2 years later being like the lowest in the division and one of the worst records. Like our team's not the worst record, but one of the worst records our team ever has in the worst in the worst division in football, as ever seen. And it just sucks, but we'll really see this year. If Jalen Hurts produces and does and exceeds everyone's expectations, you'll see a window show up. You'll see a window show up if he does good. You will.
yeah.
You will. But if you don't, then there's no window because you're not close.
Yeah.
It depends. It really depends on how the coaches are feeling, Howie and stuff. Because we have a shitload of picks next year. So and we have all the cap money. So I'm looking forward to this season, not really, but next season after that when we have all the picks and all the players, the younger guys that are coming out. So
yeah,
that's the only glimmer of hope that I'm really thinking about.
Yeah. We'll get back to the Eagles later. The last thing I want to say about the Eagles before we get into the poll and before we say anything is if Jalen Hurts doesn't exceed his expectations or meet his expectations, we're basically starting over. We will probably have to get rid of all three of the draft picks that we built up, the first-round draft picks that we built up to trade for a guy or to try and trade up in the draft to draft a guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's now or never. And that's why I'm saying the people that are saying, hey, the season means nothing, we're only going to win 4 or 5 games. If we only win 4 or 5 games, that means Jalen's not the guy.
Yeah.
So take that for how you leave it. He's going to have a healthy offensive line, especially if our second-round draft pick shows up healthy after busting his knees and his ankles time after time again. But that's another story for another time. We'll talk Heavy Eagles next week because the schedule will be out Wednesday. We'll post something on the Instagram at Phlite Zone. Make sure you follow it. Post something on the Phlite Zone. I'll give my prediction. Evan will give his prediction of the wins and losses. And before the schedule even comes out, I think we're going to be teetering around 500. I think nothing has really significantly changed. The only thing that can give us hope is Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Mm-hmm. If they exceed, then we're a playoff team. If they don't, we're a mediocre average team with all the vets. Mm-hmm. And remember, bad things happen in Philadelphia. We should be worried about our bench production for the playoffs. Philadelphia Sixers talk. And we're going to talk about this for a little bit. I hate our bench. I think it's filled with young pups. I think George Hill is over the hill. I don't think he's going to be giving you – I think he will be giving you significant minutes. I don't know if they're going to mean anything, if he's going to put them to use.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to be able –
He's kind of I expected a little bit more, but –
yeah. He needs to be able to shoot the ball and guard Kyrie Irving. That's what we need him to do.
Mm-hmm.
If he hits his threes 38, 39% of the time and he slows down Kyrie Irving, then we're fine. But I have no faith in that happening.
Mm-hmm.
I have no faith in that happening.
Get this damn Dallas fan out of the chat. Jeez, they just keep typing random shit. But yeah, dude, I really hope George Hill shows up. Have you seen anything from Tyrese Maxey that could give him minutes in the playoffs?
Could I just say something real quick?
Go ahead.
4 playoff wins in 25 years. You're going to be on mute now.
You're on mute.
All right, go. What was Tyrese Maxey?
Yeah, have you seen anything from him in the games he's played that would serve him any minutes whatsoever besides garbage time if we were blowing a team out or we're getting blown out in the playoffs?
I think that question depends on if Shake Milton is included in the playoff rotation and if he's doing well. Yeah. Because if Shake is that 2 coming off the bench, coming in for maybe a Tobias, and then you move Ben to 4, and Shake is just playing how Shake's been playing over the past 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, then Tyrese is either going to take that spot or Doc is just going to take that spot out in general, and Tobias will be playing more minutes, or Seth will be playing more minutes.
Mm-hmm. But would you trust him? Would you trust him in the playoffs?
Maybe in the first round, maybe in the second round if you're playing the Knicks. First round if you're playing, I don't know, the Pacers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect him to play against really the Nets at all. It really depends. Hopefully we don't have any injuries like that or anything, but
Once that Nets series comes, I really think it's only going to be George Hill,
Maybe
Matisse,
7
and
or
Dwight.
8. 7
Yeah.
or 8 people.
It's
You're
going
gonna
to
have
be those 3 guys coming off the bench: George
Yep.
Hill, Matisse, and Dwight.
Yep.
That's probably what's going to happen by the time the Nets series comes. If we do play the Nets, it could be the Bucks. Who knows? The Bucks are trending upwards.
Mhm.
Personally, I'd rather play the Bucks just because they really only have Giannis, Drew Holiday. He is what he is. He's been a very consistent player his entire career. This is probably one of his best seasons.
Yep.
But I just don't trust him against our defense. I still think we have the best defense in the East, and I am counting the Knicks in that. I think the Knicks are too young, and they have too many just slightly above average basketball players to be able to compete in a 7-game series where it all matters.
Mhm.
So,
No, man, I agree. I think you'll still see Ferk. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You'll still see him. If Danny Green isn't shooting and isn't making his shots, or Seth isn't, you'll see Ferk, because you see him the last few years, and I mean, you'll see him. Trust me. You'll see him.
yeah, that's going to be just great. Have him come in and just miss shots that he needs to
Nah,
miss.
he's gonna be a flamethrower. He's gonna be a flamethrower.
Splendid. Danny Green's probably going to be our X factor, because if Tobias gives us the 23 that we're expecting him to give us, Ben Simmons is what he is. He's going to guard the best player on the floor. He's going to open up shots for everybody else. He's going to open up shots for Danny Green and Seth Curry. It really depends on Danny Green, because Danny Green's probably our second best perimeter defender behind Ben, and he's one of our most consistent 3-point shots. If his 3-point shot is consistent, then do we really need to worry about the bench? Because I feel like Danny can play a crap ton of minutes when it comes to you need to win the next 16 games once the playoffs start.
Yeah. I hope he does that, because you really know the bench has been pretty bad, for like the exception of Matisse, who's number 5 right now, I think, on the defensive player of the year. Like he creeped into the top 5.
Yeah.
And I guess Tyrese Maxey, but it really wouldn't matter, because he most likely wouldn't be getting any minutes in a clutch or anything like that. Yeah. But I could see Seth Curry's being the X factor too. I mean, if your main shooter isn't shooting from 38% at least, you're back to square one. You're back to what you did last year. Like, because we had no one shooting even 35% from 3 in the playoffs last year. So if he can at least get 38, if Seth can give us at least 38, I'd be happy. So
yeah. Yeah, I could see Seth Curry also being that X factor. It's just we already know what Seth Curry gives you. We don't know he's either going to make the 3 or he's not. He's not going to play a lick of defense. And if he's not making the 3, then Matisse is going to be taking his minutes. It's just that simple. Yeah. So that's why I see Danny become more the X factor, just because he has he plays better defense. He plays better defense, and he shoots around the same amount of percentage from 3 than Seth. So Danny needs to be hitting his 3s.
Yeah, and I don't know why people slander so much on Danny Green.
I used to be one of those people.
I know, but like, okay, he didn't get that last shot against the Lakers, but did you see what he did for the Raptors?
Yeah,
he did great for the Raptors. I mean, it was San Antonio years ago, but he still did what he was supposed to do. I mean, he still has some sort of licks of that right now, but I mean, he's an X factor, but I wouldn't say he's like you're making him sound like a liability almost. Yeah. Saying we've seen Danny Green in the playoffs before, because he's had great years in the playoffs, but he's had one bad shot to seal the championship, the Mickey Mouse championship. So
yeah, I want to go back to this, Pete. The conference final, to get to the conference finals, how key are the matchups? I think they're going to be huge, and that's why I am questioning the bench. Because if your starters need to exert that much energy in the first round and the second round of the playoffs just to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, that's going to be a huge killer, especially with how the durability question with our starters have been all year. Every single one of them. Ben, Seth, Danny Green's probably been the most consistent guy in the starting lineup. So Sorry. And Tobias, Tobias and Joe, you obviously seen that they've been out a little bit this year.
Yeah.
So if they have to carry the bulk of the minutes in the first and second round because your bench isn't showing up, like they haven't shown up over the past 3 games, where the plus and minus is I know plus and minus can be this or that. I look at plus and minus as a big stat in the NBA because it literally means how many points are being scored while you're on the court and how many points are being scored against you while you're on the court. And the bench has just been egregious over the past 4 games.
Yeah.
So if they continue that into the first round, that's where the matchups become key.
And also first round, it won't just jump when you play the Nets. You have to start it from game 1 to game 16. Like it's so important that you just keep going early. Like you can't struggle for the first and expect something just to click in the second round. Like that's not how shit works.
Yeah, if you go against Russell Westbrook, who's been the triple-double machine, all-time leader in triple-double in NBA history, and Bradley Beal in the first round, I know our defense is the best defense in the league, but if they're just scoring down your throat, once you take Ben Simmons out, or once you take, Danny Green out, and then you have Furkan Korkmaz guarding freaking Bradley Beal,
he can do it.
If that game goes to 6 or 7, that game should be that should be a 5-game series at the most. The 1 versus the 8 seed, especially how much expectations we've had with this basketball team.
Yeah.
If we struggle in making the Eastern Conference Finals and we have a tough time against the Nets, and I'm not wishing that. I'm not wishing that at all.
No.
We're going to be real sorry that we didn't pursue a top-notch player like Kyle Lowry. We're going to be real sorry. And I'm not going to say I told you so. I used to be like that. I really used to be like that. I will not be like that. But I would like some apologies. That's what I want.
Yeah. And hopefully Ben can shut me up because I haven't seen anything like that.
There you go with the Ben. I mean, we did go 27 minutes and 23 seconds into the show without you slandering Ben, so that's probably a new record. That's probably a new record.
I'll write that one down, actually.
Sixers have the first seed locked up, Brian says. Who would you prefer to see in the second round, the Knicks or the Hawks?
Probably say Hawks.
I guess
defense is great. Or not. They're a little overrated, I guess I'd say, because you do still have all those old heads on the team.
Yeah.
Like Taj Gibson and all them. You still have D Rose. I mean, like, if you can't lock up D Rose and you can't lock up Taj Gibson, come on.
Yeah, D Rose is shitting though. Low key, if the Knicks, I feel for the Knicks. I really do.
They're just like the Sixers.
They're literally the Philadelphia sports teams in a nutshell. The New York Knicks, because the only difference is they get hyped up nationally and in the town of New York, or in the city of New York. We get hyped up by ourselves. We hype ourselves up to the point where, and this is what we discussed in the beginning of the show. We hype these teams up so much that once they lose and they're eliminated for good for the season, it just breaks our heart.
Yeah,
it just breaks our heart,
dude. I swear I've never been the same after the Kawhi shot. I haven't been the same fan. I've just been more angry ever since then.
Yeah. So
it's just anger.
So let's just talk about that. So the timeline for the Philadelphia sports team, 5 major things have happened. Eagles win the Super Bowl. That's the first thing.
Yep.
Phillies have 3 major league collapses in a row since the Eagles Super Bowl. Sixers get quadruple doinked to be eliminated from the Eastern Conference semifinals, in which case we probably could have made it to the finals altogether. That's number 3.
Yep.
Number 4, the Flyers go on a magical run during quarantine in the bubble, and then they come right back 5 months later and they go back to the same old Flyers. And then throughout all of that, the Eagles just collapse year after year after year. It's been nothing but sadness. So I don't know. To answer your question, I'd rather see the Hawks just because I don't want the Knicks to be the feel-good story and just run through the East because that could be a strong possibility with the way they play. They're built for the playoffs. They're built for the playoffs, especially if Derrick Rose plays like 2009 Derrick Rose. So that could be scary. And Derrick Rose has been playing like that over the past week or two. So
yeah, I'm not really scared of anybody. I mean, not even the Nets now because they still got their fair share of injuries and just like doubt, and they haven't. Maybe they have 1 game or 2 games under their belt with having a full roster.
yeah.
But yeah, I definitely take the Hawks. I mean, Trae Young's still a young guy. I think would this be his first playoffs?
Yeah, it'd be his first playoff run.
First playoffs. I think if you lock up Trae, which shouldn't be absolutely, even if he goes off, there's not really any players that, I mean, they have Lou Williams.
Yeah,
Like
they got like DeAndre Hunter.
They don't have really any other score. Herder, like you can lock all those guys.
Bogdanovich. They got a bunch of just above average players, just like the Knicks.
Yeah. Like the Heat a few years ago. It should just be like that series.
It should be, yeah. But it really just depends on the bench because and there's also a real possibility that you play the Celtics in the first round, which could be scary. You know, they've beaten us twice. They've eliminated us twice over the past 3 years.
Yeah, but they just lost Brown, which sucks for them. I mean, we'll finally have our chance to sweep them, maybe with them having an injured player. I mean, you'll be playing what Kemba, overrated Kemba, and Tatum. Really, after that, who's guarding Embiid? You still have no one guarding Embiid on that team.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, John, I thought you meant like Danny Green as in a bad way. We see him in the playoffs, but I see what you're saying though with Seth. It is one of his first playoffs that actually kind of matter. So,
Yo, Greg, I agree to the poll. Bench is still a concern to me. Not as much as it was earlier in the season, but still definitely a concern. I don't know what changed. I think it got worse because I think everybody was hyped.
Consistency level of how they are. You don't know whether they'll go hot or cold in the playoffs.
Well, exactly what I said 2 months ago is happening right now. 3 months ago is happening right now.
They need
when they were flying high. I was saying just wait until the games matter. But when the defense tightens, and the defense hasn't even tightened up yet.
Nope.
And they're shrinking under pressure.
Yeah.
Shake Milton, Furkan Korkmaz, freaking Mike Scott. None of those guys should be in a playoff rotation. You're literally only giving yourselves 3 options for 3 viable guys that could come in. And I don't have faith in George Hill as being that 6th man.
No, I don't either.
Do I have faith in Matisse Thybulle being able to score the basketball? No, I do not.
No. Oh my God! Just imagine if he was every single podcast. Just imagine if he was 38% from 3 and could be just a jumper, just a beautiful jump shot. Oh my gosh! Like that's like baby Kawhi. And again, baby Kawhi right there. That's baby Kawhi.
We would be finals bound.
We would be.
Not even close. It's not even close.
Wow.
So
that he's like Danny Green was in Danny Green's prime. Not now, but that's the potential he can live up to and even more. So
yeah.
His offensive game did get worse, but his defensive game is at a whole nother level this year. It's scary. It's scary for other teams. Like for the Nets, I'd be scared. I mean, they don't play any defense. I mean, if he's open from 3, he'll probably hit it like 30% of the time. I don't really. He might hit the back of the backboard or not even like hit anywhere. Just like really throw it over or something. But I'll have faith in him. He's been pretty reliable, I guess.
Yeah, if the freaking Wizards are dropping 115, 120 points on our head, are we going to be able to drop 121 points? Mm-hmm. We should, because the Wizards don't play defense, but
they have a great offensive. They have a great offensive game and all that, but like they'll score 143 if they have to. Didn't they take us to an overtime or something like that where we scored like almost 150 points or it was close to 150 points. That they just had a game like that against Boston a few days ago too, where they had like 143 to 145 or something like that. That was
they'll score. It's
They
just, are we going to be able to hit those big shots?
Mhm.
And Brian, you got to remember the regular. Yeah, that's what I've been saying all year. The regular season doesn't matter, but the way your young bench players play does matter.
Mhm.
And the amount of inconsistency that they've shown all year scares me. You
Yep.
can't be having your starting five play 40 minutes a game in the first round of the playoffs as a 1 seed. You can't. That's what's going to kill us.
Yeah.
Especially with the legs that we have in our starting five.
Yeah. I mean, the Wizards do stink. They're just I wouldn't say they stink. They're just like not put in the situation they're supposed to with their players they have. I mean, the two players they have, I would say are probably top 20 players. Definitely Bradley Beal. And like people like to hate on Russell. Like you said, he does stat pad sometimes, but
He's a top 20 player in this league.
yeah,
he is.
he is definitely. But I mean, if you have two top 20 players, you're fine. Would you say Tobias Harris is a top 20 player? Probably not. No. But Joel Embiid, he's a top 5 player. And is Ben Simmons a top? Would you say he's a top 20? He's maybe a fringe top 20. I don't even want to hear anything that comes out of your mouth in the next because you're going to say something stupid. I can already see it right now. You're going to say something astronomically dumb.
Look, whenever he's on the court, he's the best defender and the best passer. Is that a top 20 player? I don't know.
Nah,
that's up to everybody to decide.
No,
if he's dropping 15 points a game in the playoffs, he's definitely a top 20 player in the league.
He's not a scorer, so it doesn't matter. So
okay, defense wins championships.
He's not a scorer, but yeah, if you really look at it like that, like they have two all-stars, I'd say, on their team, or we have a superstar and an all-star when he wants to be.
Look, Brian, I don't want to make this, and Evan and I were discussing this before the show. Russell Westbrook is probably one of the most over-hated athletes in professional sports.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a lot of people appreciate his greatness. Yes, he has folded in playoff series before, but it's a new scene, new coach, and he has a new star next to him, Bradley Beal, Bradley Beal just wants to win. I just see it in him. He's itching to get out of Washington, but maybe Russ and him can make something work out. I don't want to make this the defend Russell Westbrook show because this is called the Phlite Zone. We do 4 for 4 here.
I mean, we don't love him. We don't love him. Like Joel Embiid has beef with him and all that. But I'll defend definitely.
I like Russ.
Like, you can't be really overrated if you have the all-time triple-double record. Like,
and he's made it to Eastern Conference Finals.
He just who did he pass? Wilt?
No, he passed Oscar Robertson.
Oscar Robertson. Yeah, Oscar Robertson. You can't be overrated if you can pass something like that. I don't want to sound like a casual or anything, but a lot of people saying he's overrated. I don't agree to that. I know he takes stupid shots, but yeah, he'll go like 20 for like 53 or something like that, just like some weird. But Harden does that all the time. I mean, if you're scoring that many points and you're like, they give him the ball. They give him the damn ball all the time. Like OKC, he's definitely a better, even though they haven't done that well this year, he's definitely a better duo with Beal than he was really with Paul George.
Yeah.
Like Paul George, he choked during the playoffs. Bradley Beal can take over a game and he can close games out. Russell Westbrook is he's not built to really be the best guy, but he is at the same time. I really don't know how to explain it. You know what I mean? Like
he's made it to he's made it to Eastern Conference Final he's made it to Western Conference Final after Western Conference Final when the Western Conference was a freaking powerhouse. So to say he's overrated is just mind-blowing to me because he's made it further than the Sixers ever had on multiple occasions. Yeah. And that's another thing that we need to worry about is our experience. Mm-hmm. I know George Hill and Dwight Howard have made it far before. They've made it to Eastern Conference. They've made it to the finals. They made it to Eastern Conference Finals. George Hill has been a big piece in multiple teams when it came to the Pacers, the Cavs, the Bucks, et cetera, et cetera. But Dwight Howard's really only ever made it once with the Magic where he was the guy and he lost, and then once last year when he was a bench rider. Mm. So is the experience there? Do we have it? I don't know. But I can tell you one thing, Russell Westbrook has it.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Wow.
And that, yeah, thank you, Brian. Harden is the most overrated player ever. He really, like, yes, he could score the basketball, but you want to talk about somebody who chokes. I'd rather have Russell Westbrook on my team rather than Harden, just because at least Russell Westbrook will always give you 110% and give you heart.
Mhm.
You know his heart is there. I never know if Harden's heart is ever completely there.
His heart's at all the strip clubs.
I want to go back to Matt's point before we got into defend Russell Westbrook show. Defend Russell Westbrook mode. Doc said, we will not blink at playing 11 guys if we need to. I think we are that deep. Doc has said a lot of bullshit to us this year.
He has.
Like
Dude,
a lot of bullshit.
It sounds like, you know what that sounds like? That Hawks team, that's what that
Yeah.
sounds like. The 12 men deep. No way. We're not built like that. There's no damn way. 11 players. That's two starting lineups and what? And an extra guy.
Let's talk about that second starting lineup real quick. So what? You'll have Shake Milton as your point, George Hill as your 2, Matisse is 3, Mike Scott as your 4, Dwight as your 5, and then Tyrese as your 6.
Tyrese as your extra 1. Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
That's terrible.
It is. I don't want to see Mike Scott getting any minutes. I don't want to see him getting any minutes.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
No way. Insanity.
But oh yeah, that's BS. That's BS. Doc's given us a lot of BS this year, and you know what? I'll take it. If having Doc Rivers as your head basketball coach mean that he's just going to feed you a bunch of bullshit all season at the press conference, I'll take it. But don't believe that we're actually going to be playing 11 guys in the first and second round.
He's just blowing smoke. He's just blowing smoke, I feel. But yeah, I think we're very defensively in. We have a lot of depth defensively. Benny's Nation, I agree with you. And but it's just like the offensive side. It's really one or the other. Where some of these players, like sometimes you can have that, but for like a player like Matisse, where he has almost no offensive game whatsoever. I mean, he'll hit a jump shot once in here. Like he's kind of like Ben Simmons, I guess. This guy Ben Simmons that Jimmy's in love with.
Wow.
But maybe a little bit better because he shoots threes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Mike Scott. I don't even know why Mike Scott's on the team. I'd rather have I can name a million players I'd rather have. Like,
come on, he's not that bad.
The regional manager has left the building, dude.
I mean, we still got Don Tolliver, right?
Yeah.
Or Tolliver, Anthony. I remember when Jonathan was on the show a couple weeks ago and he said Anthony Tolliver was probably the worst basketball player he's ever seen with his own eyes. And then all I could think of is Don Tolliver.
Oh, wow.
But this bench is going to scare me. And I feel like it's going to come back and haunt us that we didn't do more at the trade deadline or the buyout market.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Bucks got better at the deadline and the buyout market. The Nets got better. Of course, the Nets got better. They got everybody.
Yeah.
But the Bucks adding PJ Tucker, who we wanted, who would have been a big help to this freaking team.
Mm-hmm.
He got Oladipo. All of these teams got better. They improved because they knew the playoffs is where it's going to matter. That's what all of these teams are shooting for, is the playoffs.
Yep.
We added George Hill.
Yeah.
So take that for how it comes, but I don't think George Hill is a main guy to come off your. He's a 7 or an 8 in a playoff rotation. He's not your 6. So.
And what do you think about bringing back? I mean, there's talks again for next year about bringing Kyle Lowry in for a sign and trade.
I guess it just depends on the pricing.
Yeah. I really don't know what that would look like because I don't know if they want Ben Simmons or something like that. Because we can't really give up any rookies or anything like that because I don't know. It would be hard to match the salary. We don't have any of those players that we could just trade off. I mean, Danny Green, I don't want to get rid of Danny Green.
Yeah.
I'll keep Danny Green for another year. You have Seth Curry, who's on, I think, 2 more years after this.
Yeah.
So maybe they want him or something. I really don't know why they want him, but I don't know.
It's 1 or 2 years for Seth.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny might be on a 1-year contract this year. I'm not completely sure.
I think it was a 2-year,
Yeah,
30.
Yeah, we talked about this like a month ago when we were discussing this. Yeah. I just don't think it's worth it. I mean, it would have been as a sign and trade, but I think it would have been worth it this year. Like this year, if you're aiming for a championship, especially if you don't know about Joel Embiid's health in the future, you have no idea if Joe's going to be able to play this again.
I agree, and like
this was your shot to win the title completely. And if we lose because our bench doesn't show up, a lot of people are going to be kicking themselves in the butt.
And like I feel like if we did bring in Kyle Lowry, I just feel like it would hurt like Maxi's. It would hurt Maxi's minutes, and just like I don't even know if we'd have him after the trade. But if we did, it would just we want him to develop.
Yeah,
and I feel like if he's like the third guard, he's not going to get a lot of minutes. Even during during the regular season, I feel like Tyrese definitely deserved more minutes than he actually got.
Oh yeah,
but
especially with how fake this regular season is called.
Yeah, you still have Shake. I don't know what they'll do with Shake.
I think I'm done with the Shake Milton experiment. I think I'm officially done with the Shake Milton.
You think so? Well,
personally, I am. I don't know if they are.
In the playoffs, we'll see how he does, because that will be a big indicator. I mean, he has hot and cold moments. He was really good in the beginning of the season and in the bubble last year, but
thank you, Matt.
No, Matt,
that's exactly what will happen.
No.
I took the words right out of my mouth. People like you will blame Ben Simmons if the bench doesn't show up, because
if Ben Simmons scoring 10 or less a night like he always does, that's no good.
But what if his rating is a +10 and the bench is a -23 and we end up losing by 5?
Nah, bro. But the thing is, he's getting paid all that money to have no offensive game.
Yes, but he's also that you signed him knowing
we're paying him to play defense.
He is what he is. If he gets that jump shot, that is a plus. I know that he needs that jump shot.
Yeah, he does.
But you signed him knowing that's who he is. He will pass the ball for you. He will create open shots for Danny Green and Seth Curry. Danny Green leads the league in corner threes. Seth Curry is shooting 42% from 3. And when Ben was out, you were on a 4-game losing streak. Right when he comes back, you're on an 8-game win streak.
It's luck, dude. That's luck. What up, Frank?
You know what else happened?
Last
time Ben was out 4 games in a row, we got swept in a playoff series. This is the second straight time that's the second straight time where Ben has been out 4 games in a row, and you lost all 4 of those games.
It was all right. Stop.
So who's more important?
Who's
more important, Joe or Ben?
You can't compare him. You can't.
I mean, the wins and losses you can compare. I love it.
Really, at the end of the day, no real Sixers fan would agree with you on that one.
The numbers are there. The numbers are there.
Joel Embiid had to take on the whole Celtics roster by himself. Are you telling me 1 point Ben Simmons against the Celtics would have actually done that much? Like we got blown out during those games, but we didn't let them score too many points. We just weren't scoring the basketball because we didn't have a 3-point shooter. If Ben Simmons was in, he wasn't shooting 3-pointers.
You're skipping over the point. The point.
No, Ben
Simmons is a more important piece when it comes to running the show for this. Joel Embiid is clearly the better basketball player.
Yeah,
clearly the better basketball player. But when it comes to this team, Ben Simmons is the most vital in the success of this team.
Yeah, I mean, it could be different. He could actually be consistent and have an offensive game to where he wouldn't be like that vital guy. Because if he wasn't that vital guy, he would have been that consistent guy who just scored, and he's not that. And if he does not average at least 15 points a game, he's gonna get traded.
He will.
He will get traded.
No, he will. He will average 15
get traded, and you'll cry because that will be Ben Simmons and your boy Carson Wentz in like the span of a year.
Yeah, people running out are young people. Half of the fan base, not even the loud minority of the fan base, running young talent out of town.
Mhm.
And it's not even close. It's not even close. I'm looking up free agents for next year because a lot of people are asking me, would you go after a Kyle Lowry with a 82 game season next year when he's 36 years old?
I wouldn't give up too much for him. That's the only thing, because that's like the whole reason why we probably didn't trade him is because the other team the Raptors wanted too much, and it's just like the risk. Are you willing to risk those picks and like your guys for one season? It's just I guess Daryl Morey just didn't want to risk that, and I mean if he didn't make the move then, I don't think he'll make the move next season. I just kind of doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah. So when it comes to this question, Benny's Nation, you got guys like Mike Conley, who's going to be an unrestricted free agent. I think he'd be a great fit with us next to Ben. Would you rather have a Mike Conley or Kyle Lowry? Both of them play the exact same way. They could both shoot the three ball and they both play defense.
Consistency. Like, what do you call it, was terrible the year before. Mike Conley was terrible the year before.
Yeah, but
I don't.
All right. DeMar DeRozan.
Can't shoot. Doesn't shoot threes. He won't shoot threes.
Victor Oladipo.
He won't shoot threes. DeMar won't
right.
shoot threes. That won't help.
Tim Hardaway Jr. He'd be a nice little piece.
You lost me. You'd probably have to trade for somebody else. We should have traded for
The last viable option would probably be a Dennis Schroeder, which I would not want Dennis Schroeder.
No.
So
wow. So free agency next year really isn't it.
I mean, you got Kawhi Leonard, who's going to be a player option, and you also got Chris Paul, who's going to be a player option. I don't think Chris Paul's leaving Phoenix.
No, he's not.
Kawhi Leonard, maybe he'll leave LA, depending on what happens this year.
But yeah, I agree with what you said, like the last podcast. I don't think he'd leave LA to go to Philly.
Yeah.
I can see definitely like the Heat or something like that for him, or even back to San Antonio.
Yeah. Mark. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why you gave me the lip when I said Mike Conley. I think Mike Conley would fit great next to Ben.
I don't know.
Like if you look at him next to Donovan Mitchell right now, people love to compare Ben to Donovan Mitchell.
They're way different players.
Yeah, but in a polarizing sense, people like to compare them. Who's better?
Yeah, because of the Rookie of the Year thing that a few years ago.
But Ben would open up space for Mike Conley, and Mike Conley can shoot the three ball, and he can play defense better than Seth Curry. And you could probably sign him to a cheaper option than Kyle Lowry.
He stays.
Or maybe the same. I don't think he'll stay in Utah. Why would he want to stay in Utah?
Why did he want to stay in Memphis for all that time? I mean, what the hell is there to do in Memphis?
Oh,
I mean, all they had was.
Memphis is a pretty fun town, according to. I haven't been there, but from what I've seen, it's a pretty fun town.
I mean, I don't really know, but I feel like it's sad because we talk about all these teams, and it really goes down to the location. Like, imagine if the Eagles played in like Miami, we'd probably be one of the best teams ever. Like, just played in a better place that not like I know I love Philly, but like if we played in a different place where it was just warm and there's palm trees, because I guess that's just what players love nowadays. Just like all like the lights.
Yeah. So basically, if Miami was as passionate about their sports as we were, they'd be better. Yeah, that's great. So, but it's not like I don't really know what people. Like, I don't think people like we're both from 10 minutes outside of Atlantic City, both of us, right? Mm-hmm. You got beaches like Ventnor, Margate, Longport, Brigantine. They're one of the best beaches on the East Coast.
Yep.
Like the athletes got to realize that Jersey isn't that bad. That like do we go into the Philadelphia Eagles recruitment team when it comes to free agency and say, hey, we lived in Brigantine before. This is what Brigantine looks like. You would love it. No, I don't know, dude.
Nah, dude. They just love all the hype in Hollywood and the flashing lights and just like the limelight. That's what they love. They don't They don't. At the end of the day, they don't really care about beaches and all that. They just care about the limelight and
Taxes.
I can't really. Yeah,
Taxes.
yeah, that's literally what it is. Low
That's
tax.
why people. That's why people go to
Philly
Texas.
taxes. The Philly taxes are crazy.
Oh yeah, you add $1 freaking 45 if you want to buy a 20-ounce bottle of soda. It's insane.
That is insane.
It's insane. But go back to Conley. Mark is making some great points right now. Conley and Ben would be great on D, as well as Conley spacing the floor. He's been a knockdown shooter for the best 3-point shooting team in the league. He has some driving kick ability too. And if Seth Curry's still on the team, and you let go of Danny Green, and you have Mike Conley filling that Danny Green role, why the hell not? I think Mike Conley.
How would you get rid of Danny Green though?
So in the free agency thing, it says that he is an unrestricted free agent this coming year.
Okay.
So, yeah. Now, yeah. So Mike Conley, the predicted average salary total would be $3,500,000, $30,500,000, $520,000, and Kyle Lowry is $20,000 less than him.
How much money do we have in cap space next year?
Well,
if we're to get rid of the Danny Green,
well, that's the thing. You
definitely go over the luxury. You'd have the luxury tax.
But the thing is,
likely,
you look at the Nets and they got 3 super max players on their team. When it comes to us, Ben Simmons isn't a super max yet.
Mm-hmm.
Joel isn't a super max yet. Tobias is super max. He's the only super max player on the team right now. So,
damn, dude, we gave Ben a lot of money. We gave these players a lot of money.
I mean, that's what they were for. Were you just going to let them go?
I mean,
after all that process?
No, but damn. That's all I gotta say. No, but damn. Damn, Colin got us. Seth or Danny? I'd probably Danny.
Well, yeah, in the perfect world, but if we're able to get Mike Conley next year, I'd rather keep Seth.
Really?
Well, Seth is locked up, and I don't think you'll be able to sign Danny and Mike Conley.
I can see that. I can see that definitely.
Yo, another. I'm not even gonna do it to you tonight. I'm not even.
You'll still do it. You'll still do it.
Why are you blushing?
Huh?
Why are you blushing? Why are you blushing?
You're gonna pull it up. I can already tell.
I'm not. I was gonna talk about the weather we've been having and all the pollen in Jersey. You don't even know. Is the pollen bad in Ohio right now?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's freaking terrible down here. It's so like everybody's just coughing their heads off. But yeah. Let's transition to some Phillies talk. Let's see. We'll be talking more Sixers over the next couple weeks. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. Mm-hmm. I think our finals run is going to be determined on how much these starters play in the first and second round.
Mm.
It's just all right, Mark.
Oh, he hit you with it. He hit you.
Right when I wanted to transition to the Phillies,
you got there. You got to put that on there, Jimmy. Oh,
look. Once Ben develops that jump shot in the playoffs and he's ripping off 18 to 19 a night, I want everybody to give me a personal apology. And I want people to say, I'm going to be saying I told you so when he actually does pull off that jump shot and he averages 18 to 19.
I saw a couple jump shots that I did like. It. But...
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's coming.
Mm.
Maybe we'll save that for next week, or maybe we'll save that for a couple weeks from now if he's not performing in the first and second round. Which, if he doesn't perform in the first and second round and we sweep those, if we sweep the freaking Wizards and then we sweep the Knicks, and he's still averaging 10 points, I don't want to hear that Ben Simmons isn't producing because we just won freaking 2 playoff series.
But I mean, it doesn't snap. You have to have that before you go and play someone like the Nets.
Yeah, Mark. I see the comparison between people saying, "Oh, Ben Simmons is just a glorified Draymond Green," but at the end of the day, Draymond Green is
a good player,
becoming a Hall of Famer. He really is. So I take that comparison. Yeah, Draymond Green sucks over the past 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But also look at who's been on his team.
Yeah, he sucks compared to Curry and Thompson. I don't know. Like he was such a vital role in their defensive. Like they had no defense. Like if he wasn't on the team, I don't think they win against the Cavs that one year.
Yeah,
because he was the main part of their defense.
Well, yeah, and if you look at the comparison of the big three, if you want to call Ben Simmons the Draymond Green, and then you call Joel Embiid the Steph Curry, and then you want to call the Tobias Harris the Klay Thompson, okay, but all three of those guys needed each other. They each needed each other. So I don't know. Mark, we're on an 8-game win streak with him coming back off of a 4-game stint where he was just gone. And we lost all those games. So it really depends on what he does this playoffs. Because if we make it to an Eastern Conference Finals, play 7 tough games against the Nets, or hey, we even win against the Nets, and then we go on to play the Jazz, the Suns, the Clippers, the Lakers, any of those teams, and he's averaging 15 to 17 a night, and he's guarding the best player in the court and slowing them down and dishing out 10 assists a game. No, he's not a Draymond Green. He's a Ben Simmons, and he's on his way to becoming a LeBron James. He just needs to develop that shot and get 8 points more a game.
Before we go on the Phillies, I want to ask you a question. Who would you want to play? If we did make the finals, who would you want to play?
Who would I want to play?
Yeah.
Like if it came down to what?
What's a team you'd want to play and absolutely not want to play? I'll go first, actually. I'll say I wouldn't hate us playing the Lakers in the playoffs, in the finals. But I don't think it's going to happen just because LeBron's injury and AD's been injured. I honestly feel like it might be the Clippers and the Sixers in the finals. Call me crazy, but I don't want to play the Suns. I really don't want to play them, but I like there's no team really. I feel like your hardest will be the Nets. At the end of the day, your hardest will be the Nets, like because the Jazz, they're beatable. Like
I think the Jazz's depth is going to be a concern for us.
Yeah, but like they're kind of like that Hawks team from a few years ago. They got the 1 seed.
Yeah,
and they just have a lot of role players that come off the bench and do well. But if like Mitchell, we've been locking up Mitchell ever since like.
And we've been shitting on Gobert, and Gobert's only attribute of defense. So yeah, I can see what you see about the Jazz. I just think their depth is a little scary, and we'll see what happens with the Jazz. To answer the question, I don't want to see Kawhi again. I really don't want to see Kawhi again.
Yeah,
because everybody knows what happens the last time we played Kawhi in a meaningful series. He absolutely just ripped our hearts out of our chests. And I would like to see the Lakers because I think the Lakers are beatable. I think that the amount of games that they've missed this year, and they're the 7th seed for a reason right now. Yeah, they're not playing good basketball.
No,
there's no chemistry on that team whatsoever. No. I think KCP is a bum. I think Kyle Kuzma is a bum. I think Dennis Schroeder is a bum. I think Alex Caruso is extremely overrated. And then that leaves you to defend LeBron James and Anthony Davis, which I think we could do.
Yeah. I mean, they're a deep team, but they're a deep team of older guys that they've just been in that spot before. I feel like that's why, like, we have the younger team, I guess you'd say, with like a good mix of vets. But like the younger guys, if they have those fresh legs and they can get it off, like I think we can beat someone like the Lakers. And I don't know if we even go 7 games with them. I feel like we take them to 5 or 6.
Yeah,
that's a hot take, but
I don't know. It would be kind of a full circle if we do end up beating the Lakers this year in the finals.
And then you already know, big, oh, LeBron was hurt. Mickey Mouse champs. Congrats.
I would love for us to beat LeBron James.
It would be.
And all of the fan base that just continues to suck him off and grip him up.
It's disgusting.
Benny. Here we go. When the games matter during an 8-game stretch, it doesn't matter who the F you're playing, especially when you're going on a road trip. You won 8 in a row. Winning 8 games in a row in basketball is pretty difficult, especially when people aren't really giving a shit. And I know that may sound a little contradictory, but you go into games playing down to your opponent. And we've all seen this before in past seasons where these basketball teams have played down to their opponents and they've lost. This year, they haven't done that. They've won the games that they should have won.
Mhm.
That's why this 8-game winning streak has been impressive. And that is because of our engine. Our engine is Ben Simmons.
Mhm. And I can honestly see for the East, I can see a team like the Heat like heating up during the playoffs and pulling like what the Raptors did a few years ago. Like the Bucks were the #1 seed. Like if that was to happen in the Sixers, that would be pretty shitty. I just hope that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like not even the Kawhi shot, like nothing even towards that, but just it depends on what team gets hot. Because I don't want to take any team too like I'm not scared of any team, but I don't want to take a team like the Heat or not even the Celtics now, but like the Heat or the Bucks too lightly. The Nets do have like they're the favorites, so you can't really say that they don't scare you at all. But
it would be nice to also see the Nuggets, Mark. I think Joe versus Jokic would be insane.
Wow.
I totally even
But I don't think so. They don't even have a point guard.
I don't think the Nuggets are making it up.
They just have 2 big men, and that's about it.
What do you think the chances that Luka may be able to pull something off magical and carry them to the finals?
I don't think so.
I think that I love Luka. I do love Luka, but
I do too. But Porzingis has been hurt, and I don't really see anything going on with that. What seed are they? The 6th seed?
Yeah, they're 6 right now.
Something like that.
Yeah, they're 6 right now.
So yeah, they're like fringe. Depends on how many games are left. I think there's 5 games or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There might be 5 games left, but it just depends on all. I just hope. I like that we're the #1 seed, and especially playing a team like the Lakers, we would have home court advantage since haven't been doing well. But if we put a team like the Jazz or the Suns, I think those are the only 2 teams that have a better record than we do.
Yep.
It might be close with the Clippers, but those teams would have the advantage for the home court. So I just think it would be appealing to play the Lakers.
Yeah. Mark, I think Ben's style is beatable compared to the Knicks style. I think pushing the ball, going against what the Knicks do, is an advantage to us because we'll speed it up, and it's easier to speed up a game, compared to like slowing down a game. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Sixers. I'm just stoked for the playoffs to start. I'm really pumped up. Let's just hope that another quadruple doink-esque thing doesn't happen.
And I just hope, like, if for the dumb chance the Sixers don't do it, that the Phillies we can like softly fall back on the Phillies, the Phillies pillow, which is the playoffs for the Phillies. That's really the pillow. But if pillows might be gone, we might not even make the playoffs, and we're hitting our heads hard, and it's gonna be a hard time in Philly because then you'll spiral right back on into the Eagles season that might suck.
Abysmal.
I mean, we have the Union, right? We have the Philadelphia Union, right, Jimmy? Jimmy loves soccer.
I mean, I like the Euro Cup. I like the World Cup. I don't really like that. I've never really gotten into the MLS, so
it's all right.
But the last thing about the Sixers, I just hope that if we were to lose, it's losing on a positive note. It's not, oh, we lost because our team did this. I hope it's a lose because we did everything in our like everything possible, and the other team was just better than us.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I want us to lose. But that's what never happens in Philadelphia sports, ever.
No.
So,
because we usually find a way. If it's really like that, we find a way, just like the Eagles did. So.
Yeah,
I mean, they put 100% out and they got a championship at the end of the day. So,
yeah,
I think the Sixers definitely have what it takes. Honestly, they're fair. I'm getting so hyped right now just thinking about the playoffs. When does that start? Do you know the official date on when the playoffs start?
I'll look it up right now.
But it's been a long time coming. Like we haven't had really a full lineup. Like we had really young guys the 1 year against the Celtics. When Jimmy's boy only scored 1 point, but like it's pretty interesting because Embiid's having MVP year. Ben Simmons Depoy. You got vets around you who can shoot,
Yeah.
and just a little bit more consistent than the other years before. And it with a coach too. It's intriguing.
Yeah. The playoffs start Saturday, May 22nd, and if there were to be a Game 7 in the NBA Finals, it would be on Thursday, July 22nd.
Okay,
So it starts next Saturday.
that's
So what is that?
wow.
No, not next Saturday. Two Saturdays.
Two
from now.
Saturdays. Okay.
Yeah. So
Wow.
12 days away.
You ready, Jimmy? Are you ready? Are you ready to get disappointed again? Are you ready? Because I'm not. But I am.
I might watch Game 7 again of the Raptors just to prepare myself for the pain.
I mean, I've become so
Numb to it.
numb to it, and I just
Yeah.
I can't expect any of the teams to do well.
Speaking of just having your expectations shot and becoming numb, are you numb of the Phillies yet? Because you and I were texting this past Saturday night about the Phillies. What the hell happened on Saturday night? They blew 3 saves in one game
Wow.
on Saturday night.
That was absolutely insane. I knew that was gonna happen. I'm kind of more numb to the fact that our bullpen sucks so bad. I just expect it. Where I shouldn't. If we had a quality pitching rotation. I mean, our pitching rotation is doing fine. Vinny did fine on Saturday.
He did.
And he gave up 1 run, 3 hits or something like that. That's
in 5 1/3 or something.
Yeah, any team.
That's not bad.
Any team would take that. But if you have to go through 3, if you blow 3 saves, I thought we had it in the bag after we scored 3 runs, but
in the 12th or
I guess
the 11th, whatever I think it was.
Yeah, I guess I just have too much hope in these teams.
Dude, I thought for sure we were winning that game.
I thought so too. And then
it was 7-4 baseball game.
We got this time. But then boom. I was just when they tied it up, I turned my phone off and I was like, it's over. It's over.
Oh yeah, they brought in Matt Moore to blow the game.
They should just threw someone in the outfield. Let Bryce Harper pitch or something like that.
Look, if Roman Quinn was healthy, I probably would have put him. I would have put him in over De Los Santos.
Yeah, put Vinny in right field. Fire, fire.
The one thing about the Phillies is I don't want to overreact.
Yeah.
As much as I should, just because it's only May. You're a game out of first place from the Mets. It's just these division series, as you pointed out, off the podcast, on the podcast, you got to start winning these because this division is going to come down to the last weekend in September.
Yep.
You need to be able to beat the Mets. You need to be able to beat the Braves. And when it comes to this Brave series, you need it to win Saturday night, especially when you go up 7-4 going into the bottom of the 11th or bottom of the 12th, whatever the fuck it was.
That was absolutely disgraceful.
You load the bases up. I know that rule, the runner on second, it can be a problem, but you have a 3-run cushion. You can't load the bases up and not get one out. You didn't get one out.
Oh, my Lord.
And then Nola's been pitching fine this year. His ERA is was under 3 before yesterday. I don't know what it is now. But in a game deciding series where this game decides the series, when the series is 1-1, where you just absolutely just let a game slip through your fingers on Saturday night. Nola, you need to step up on Mother's Day.
Yep. Do it for your mom, dude. Come on.
Especially on national television. Usually those nationally televised games against the Braves, we usually F them up.
We do.
And Nola just
it's so weird because we'll go and win games against teams that are obviously better than the Braves. We swept Milwaukee, who is
4-game sweep.
5 games above 500
yes.
at the time. And then you go and pull that shit. That's embarrassing. That's just shit that shouldn't happen. But somebody else commented before, do you think any of it is Joe Girardi's fault or?
Somebody said what do you guys think of Joe Girardi?
Yeah.
What do you think of Joe Girardi?
I really don't know, Jimmy. I don't know what I think about him. I feel like he has what he has, and that's it. You can't really. It goes down to the players. also goes down to coaches, but it's just I really don't know. We need to recruit more people. I don't know what the hell to do because our bullpen's been the same even with Gabe Kapler. So it's been an issue for years, and you really can't do anything about it in 1 year, in 2 years.
Yeah, De Los Santos. That's why I wanted Roman Quinn, even when he's not healthy. I want Roman Quinn when he's on the IL to be pitching over that dude. And you want to know what I think of Joe Girardi? I think Gabe Kapler has a better record head to head to him against him. I think Gabe Kapler has a better record overall right now against him.
He does.
And I think Gabe Kapler will be managing this team better than what Joe Girardi has in what 83 games, 85 games total of what Joe Girardi's coached us.
Yep.
Joe Girardi has been an average coach, average manager for us, and the record shows.
Yeah.
And I know he had a putrid bullpen last year, but your bullpen has gotten significantly better compared to last year, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
Yes, it can improve, but Girardi, you're the one that made Hector nervous, your closer again. You're the one that didn't just set Alvarado as your closer or Archie Bradley before you got hurt as your closer. You had to go back to the Hector Nervous experiment, who has 2 pitches, who can't get a fastball past 94 miles per hour.
Wow. That was really bad when he walked. What was it? The one guy who had like a below 200 batting average and it was 0-4 that whole game. But back to the thing with Kapler and Girardi. Kapler had his streaks where he'd be managed the team great and all the analytics bullshit. And we'd have and we've had all those games where we'd be in front and we'd like just blow it because we like all the wheels would fall off and we'd be like the worst in the NL East after being the best for almost most of the season. But like the Phillies aren't really showing me any different from that before because we haven't had a moment where we were better than anyone in the division, for the exception of the first few games, which really don't matter as much as like the last 6 games would matter.
Yeah. Yeah. And what you said about the analytics with Girardi, he is looking into it, and that's why he pulled Vince in the 6th. Analytics say that Vince Velasquez can't pitch to the rotation to the lineup 3 times, like the 3rd time around, and that's why Vince got pulled because he let up a base runner. Now, Girardi, if you go with your gut, the best part of being a Major League Baseball manager is being able to pick and choose, make your decisions based off of how the game is going. That's why the Rays lost the World Series last year.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Like Girardi is becoming I think Girardi has managed this baseball team exactly like Gabe Kapler. The only difference is the name.
Yeah.
So
and maybe it's the players. I mean, at the end of the day, there's all the analytics, the stuff you can do, the stuff you can't do. But really, when you look at it, all these games have been – it's just been like either – like you can't – at the end of the day, you can't blame the coach for everything. They play a big role, but they're not always the one person. Like a lot of people love to blame Brett Brown back then. But at the end of the day, you had people on the team who just weren't good. But like for the Phillies, like we have consistency issues. Harper, he can be really inconsistent at times. The slumps he's had the last few seasons, it's not good. And Hoskins, who's been having a okay season, like he was leading the NL in 10 home runs, and then
he had 8 home runs. He was leading the league for about a day, and he hasn't hit a home run since.
No, he hasn't, and that's an issue. He should be traded. Honestly, I don't know. We need a pitcher. I'll take any pitcher.
Look, we said it a couple weeks ago. I heard it on Agree to Disagree a couple weeks ago. The boys on Sunday, Tom and the boys, Tom, Greg, Willie, all those guys. They were saying, yeah, it's time to trade one of your pieces for a 3rd or 4th pitcher.
Yeah.
And one of those pieces, the main piece, is Rhys Hoskins. You move Bohm over to 1st.
Yep.
You put fucking Segura back at third.
Third, and then who do you put it?
Maton can play second base, or you pick up another second baseman,
Mhm.
and then
I
you
mean,
get
I really-
a valid fourth starter.
It'll depend on our playoff, not even playoff run, but just our chances of the playoffs for this like upcoming it's not even upcoming, but like this. Make some trades. We got to make some trades. You got to I remember we brought in Cody Dickerson like 2 years ago. Maybe he did really well for the team. I wouldn't say bring in him, but just like anybody, just a new face would help a lot. Because I mean, there's players on these like bad teams that aren't doing anything that would be quality on the or on the Phillies, you know?
Yeah, and we'll find out who those players are in July. The only question is, can you still stay within 3-4 games come trade deadline time? And I think you can. Like,
I think so too.
If you want to be completely honest, like if you want me to be completely honest, the only reason why I'm not completely just bashing them saying this team fucking sucks is because I like this team. I like Bryce. I like Didi. I like Segura. I like Nola, even though he's a pain in my ass and he's not a real ace. That he proved that yesterday when the spotlight was on him. He can never win a big game. Like you can't win a big game during prime time on Mother's Day. Like, come on, dude. You can't be giving up that many runs.
Would you say that Zach Wheeler is your go-to guy if you were to have that one wild card?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then Nola can pitch your game one in the NLDS. And I don't even think that's a question.
Oh, dude, John just said it. Nick Pivetta, dude. Nick Pivetta is doing really good with the Red Sox. But the Red Sox are also crushing the baseball. I mean his ERA is low, but like he has help. He didn't have help last year. He didn't have that much help last year. I mean, the Phillies were crushing the ball for some time, but maybe I don't know, man. JT at first.
The only problem I have with that is Andrew Knapp's batting under 200, and Andrew Knapp's sample size is extremely low.
I'd rather just put Knapp at first.
Yeah, put Knapp at first because JT plays almost every single day at catcher.
He's the best catcher in baseball. You paid him to be the best catcher in baseball. It's probably like you said, what didn't you say it was like the running back of baseball? Like it's not really necessarily that important, but it's nice to have one of the best.
We're basically what LA did with Todd Gurley. You signed him. Hopefully it doesn't end how it ended with Todd Gurley in LA, but that's basically what it is.
Yep.
By the way, I'd still rather have Trevor Bauer than JT Romito right now.
Mm-hmm.
You could have easily gotten a McCann who went to the Mets. You could have gotten so many other catchers that, they'll give you a 270.
Yep.
They'll be valid behind the plate. And they'll give you 15 to 20 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have gotten a Cy Young.
But we don't talk about that.
We don't like talking about that, though. And don't get me wrong. I love JT Romito. It's just I want stuff that'll help us win a championship or help us win a World Series. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, once I do like this team. I like Gene. I like Didi. I like Bryce. I love Bryce. I like McCutchen. I love Bohm.
McCutchen has turned it up too.
Yeah, he's probably been listening to us.
I was hating for a little bit. I was saying this dude's like the most washed I've ever seen him, but he has been crushing the baseball ever since. So like, I feel like every time I shit talk one of the players, they just go off. So maybe I should just keep doing it. But for Ben Simmons, I've been shit talking for the past few years. I guess he hasn't seen any of the shows, but we got to get him on one day. We'll get him on one day this summer when he's on the Pelicans. Or he's on the Clippers.
Why would we go to the Pelicans? Who are we getting back?
We're gonna sign and trade.
Who?
Why? Why for Ben? That would be the best.
This is Phillies talk now. This is Phillies talk, and you still find a way to slander Ben. At the beginning of the show, after we read the body check wellness, after we read the poll of the day, there should be like a special segment. Over under for how many times Evan has slandered Ben Simmons.
There's bets, dude.
It's already been 3.
On the bookies, dude. There's already bets.
Over under for the rest of the show. We got about an hour left. Over under, or a little less than an hour. What's the over under for the rest of the show?
Probably
2.5. I
I
got
mean, I
the
can
over.
turn it up. I can
got the
turn
over.
it up.
Jesus Christ, you're a hater.
I
I've
know.
never seen somebody hate somebody
I
so
know.
much.
I know. But just come on. You know.
All right, back
Yeah.
in what was it? 2018, after we won the Super Bowl, the season after we won the Super Bowl, where you're getting on Wentz, and even in 2019. I don't know if you hated Carson Wentz more at that time or you hate Ben Simmons more at this time.
Ben. Oh, at this time?
Like at this time, Ben Simmons, or when you were like in the prime of hating Carson Wentz. I don't know who you hate more.
I don't know. I despise when players. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna say.
Wait, you despise when players take our money and you think they underperform?
They did underperform.
You think Ben Simmons is underperforming this year?
Yeah, he's had career lows. He has career lows in every single.
Yes, but he's the point.
Less assists, less points, dude. The stats show it all. I mean,
is Bryce Harper underperforming?
Don't show it all. But he's had the best defensive player or the best defensive year he's ever had. But offensive, he's down 2, averaging 2 less.
Okay.
Averaging a whole 1 and 1. Yeah. 1 less. I mean, still. Come on.
So is Bryce Harper underperforming? Is Bryce Harper underperforming his contract?
Yeah.
So how come you don't get on Bryce as much as you get on Ben?
Because
Ben makes the playoffs. Bryce Harper doesn't.
I'm gonna be honest. I love I love the Sixers right now more than I love the Phillies. But I know the Phillies are on no level like the Sixers are. And the Eagles, after they won the Super Bowl, were on no level like the Phillies are now. They're not like the Phillies aren't even like the Phillies might not make the playoffs, but the Eagles were making the playoffs, and then Carson kept getting hurt, and that's why we traded for my boy Jalen Hurts.
I just want to end the show now. Like after you just said that. Look,
see, even the people in the comments said Ben Simmons is underperforming. He's overperforming on his defensive side, right? He's doing what he should do.
He was out for 4 games. We lost those 4 games.
Oh my god!
We were then 2 games back behind first place.
We lost our point guard like any other team would.
Yes, that's my point. He is
any other team would lose without their all-star.
Priceless. He's priceless on this team.
What the fuck? Yo, you love this dude too much.
Evan, we were 2 games back before this 8-game winning streak, and we were almost in 3rd place. The Bucks almost caught us. And then when he comes back, what? We're 2 or 3 games above now, above the Nets.
Dang.
Does that tell you something? Yep. Does that not tell you anything? The last time this guy has been out 4 straight times, we got swept in a playoff series. And then the next time it happened, we lost 4 games in a row. He can't be underperforming. The point guard of a team who is the defensive player of the year front runner, and the team is in first place in the Eastern Conference, and the team is on an 8-game win streak, the point guard cannot be underperforming. It just doesn't make any sense for people to say that.
It does.
The defensive player of the year candidate, the front runner, defensive player of the year candidate is underperforming.
All right, we'll see how that guy does in against the Nets. Let's see if he can lock up. If he's the defensive player of the year, he should lock up KD for under 20.
See, we got some people saying he's not underperforming. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, but John, why are we going off the Phillies? You just had to say Ben, didn't you?
Yeah, dude. No. We have to talk about this. We have to. It has to be addressed.
Kevin knows it. Defense wins championships. I'm personally more hard on Ben because the 76ers have finals aspirations. But
the Phillies don't even have playoff aspirations right now. With the way they've been playing against NL East teams, they don't.
Okay. But I'm talking about Ben Simmons.
But you're saying, why am I not as hard on Bryce?
But if Bryce kept up the 330 batting average that he does in April and May throughout the season, I know baseball is a totally different sport. Look at Mike Trout. Mm-hmm. So that's unfair for me to compare Bryce to Ben. But saying Ben Simmons is underperforming just doesn't make any sense. It just really doesn't. Because you signed him knowing what he's supposed to give you, and he's excelling at what you signed him to do.
But I mean, just the issue
The team
is
is
I
winning.
keep thinking about that we drafted him thinking he was a player that he's not. He's not an offensive threat at all.
Yeah, but once he came into the league, he showed you that he facilitates and he will always play defense.
But we were looking for
And
more.
you even just said that the jump shot's coming. You seen?
I said I saw it. I saw it, but I didn't see enough of it. Like, why is he just starting to do that now? Like, it
because
should have been
playoffs come.
things.
He's warming up. He
that-
doesn't want to show the film on it. It's the biggest troll job in sports
There's no
history.
way. There's no way.
I called it.
No damn way.
I
Jimmy.
called it months ago. And,
There's no damn
and
way.
he's showing right now that he's bringing out that left-hand jumper.
There's no damn way.
He's warming it up a little bit.
He's going to
He's
do
warming
that.
it up a little bit.
Toby, our second best. Yeah.
You know what? Hot take time. We make it to the NBA Finals, and Ben Simmons averages 20-plus points a game. This NBA playoffs. Hot take.
That's a real hot take. That's a cold take.
It's no.
That's a cold take, actually. That's a cold ass take. That's a cold ass take. Nobody has that take. Ben, 20 points.
Yeah, he'll average 20 points a game in this playoffs. I guarantee it.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe.
Guarantee.
We'll see.
What were you talking about with the Phillies that you said Ben Simmons?
What, the Bryce Harper thing?
No, we said something. I said something, and then you brought up Ben Simmons, and then I was talking about your over under for Ben slander.
I don't even remember, Jimmy.
All right. Well, who do they get? They got a series coming up tomorrow. It's against the. It's at Washington, I think.
Washington. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really helping that we're losing these games. I mean, the perfect time. I'm not really saying like it was a perfect time to strike because I don't want to like blow our load too much too early because it's 100+ games. So is it 162? I keep getting confused on the number. Is it
162 this year?
okay? So it's 162 games, and we're probably about 26 games in or something like that. It's something like that. But I just feel that if we struck early, we would have had a little bit more cushion room, and it would have been nice because we did have those 2 games. We had a 2-game lead over the Mets, and now we're down by 2 games in the last week. So
yeah. Well, you got the Nationals coming up, and the first pitching matchup is Chase Anderson versus I just saw it. I lost his name. He's like a no name right now.
okay,
Eric Fed. He's 2-3 this year, 5.27 ERA and 27 innings pitched. So he's basically a Chase Anderson.
yeah.
So Chase Anderson's basically pitching against himself in the opener. And then you got Wheeler versus Lester. Lester's pitched pretty well in the 2 games that he started, and we all know what Wheeler is. He had a phenomenal game against the Brewers last series. We'll see if he can keep that up. And then you have Eflin versus Patrick Corbin. And Corbin, who has shown success over the past few seasons, has sucked this year. I think his ERA is like above 7.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could come out of that series, I don't know. It's a 4-game series, I think.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's a 3-game. It's a 3-game series.
Yeah, no.
And then you play the Blue Jays.
Who do they have on the 3rd game? Do you know? Is it Scherzer probably?
No, it's Fed tomorrow. Lester in game 2, and then Corbin.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then we have Chase Anderson, Zach Wheeler, Zach Eflin. If Chase Anderson can beat himself, I'll take our odds with Eflin and Wheeler.
I mean, if we can get a sweep out of this, that would be pretty big.
That would be perfect. But we got to take it 1 game at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
The offense seems to be showing up in the 1st inning.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing.
Then after that, they disappear after the first.
That's been the issue. That has been the issue over the past week or 2.
But like again, even a 2 out of 3, I'd take.
I would take a 2 out of 3.
I don't even expect sweeps out of the Phillies. I just like 2 out of 3, just win the series. That's all you got to do to win the East, really.
Here's the thing. If you win that first game, which you're going against a pitcher who sucks, like you're basically going against a Chase Anderson.
Yeah.
So you're off. We expect our offense to go off that game, and we expect Chase Anderson to give us 4 innings, 3 runs given up. By the 4th inning, we're expecting to have 6 runs.
It really depends because
then it comes out of the bullpen.
Yeah, they have to strike before we take out the starting pitcher. I feel I think that's a pretty big thing.
Well, that's what happened in the Braves game.
Mm-hmm.
We effed them up in the first inning, 6-0 off the bat, and then we ended up winning 12-2 or something like that.
Yeah,
that needs to continue. You need to get 6 runs. You need to have a strong first inning, and you need to keep it up so that you can have 12 runs.
And if you're scoring 6 runs in the first inning, and you can score a run after each inning, that starting pitcher is going to be out before the 3rd inning, and then you're going against somebody not as good as him that didn't get a spot on the pitching rotation. So you just got to take it. Well, strike early, that's great, but don't have it all in one inning and they don't do shit after the 6th inning usually. Whenever we're losing by 1 run, I still feel like we're gonna lose because we never do anything after the 6th inning.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes
over the past week or 2, that has been the case, and the bullpen has probably choked us. But
that doesn't help. Yeah, exactly. But
the middle of the game has hurt us. Our offense towards the middle innings, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th innings, they've killed us.
Yep. And just having that cushion is going to be huge. Just because you never know with our shitty players that we have sitting in the back in the outfield. So
and then my one point to this series is if you do come out on top in that first game, we expect Eflin and Wheeler to give us W's in the 2nd and 3rd game. So if you're expecting a big offensive game in game 1, if you expect a big offensive game, you expect to win. If you put up 8 runs, you're supposed to win the baseball game. If you put up 7 runs, you're supposed to win the baseball game.
Yep. Have you seen it from Eflin yet?
What was that? Yeah.
To think that he's a good enough role pitcher, I guess you could say.
I think so. I know it's no note radio, but I got his ERA up right now.
Yeah.
He's 2-1, 3.38 ERA.
That's good.
I'll take that in your 3rd start.
Yeah. But we've seen that from the last few years in the first couple games he's pitched, but then it's like a downfall after that. So I just keeps up with that consistent pitching.
Well, the only thing that's different this year is he ended last year on a high note and he brought it into this season.
Yep.
That's why I'm extremely confident in Zach.
Yeah. And he deserves it, man. He's been on the team for a little bit now. I've liked him, but it just depends on the consistency with these pitchers because you just never know with the bullpen. So if you don't have a consistent and first 3 pitchers of the rotation, it's hard to win games.
Yeah. And look, my little epiphany bold prediction that I had at the beginning of the season that our top 3 starters will be the best 3 starters in the division. Right now, it's pretty much coming true. We all know what DeGrom is. DeGrom has an ERA under 0.75 right now, but he's on a 10-day injured list. Carrasco hasn't really done all that.
Is Syndergaard coming back anytime soon?
I don't know. I think he's set for June or July.
Okay.
So we'll see when that happens. But
yeah,
the Braves have been atrocious.
Yeah,
they've been terrible when it comes to their starting pitching. So if our boys can keep it up and Nola shows up in the primetime games, I think this team is set for a playoff run, a playoff game, whether it's the play-in or whether they win the division. So,
I mean, that would suck playing all those games, 162 games, and not make the playoffs. It's so weird because we have teams like the Sixers who can easily make the playoffs, and you got the player people like the Phillies who remind me of the Wizards, or the Wizards basically. we're like fringe playoff team. You just never know with us. So
Yeah. No. Spencer Howard. Honestly, Benny, I have no idea why Dombrowski thought it was a good idea to have Matt Moore, Chase Anderson, and Ivan Nova compete for those last two spots. I have no idea why Dombrowski. And I think Dombrowski's done a great job. I don't think he's done a great job. I think he's done an adequate job.
for the people he has around him, I think he's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Because like those pitchers, they're not that. I don't know if they would even make a spot on like any other team. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't.
You had an opportunity to get a John Lester. You had an opportunity. Cole Hamels is still out there, isn't he?
Yeah. He's probably sitting at home right now, wondering why the Phillies aren't calling him.
Why in the world why are you effing around with Matt Moore? Chase Anderson, maybe. But Chase Anderson's going to give up 3 runs in the first 4 innings. And he's really only lasted that long because the offense has showed up at the first inning when he's pitched.
Yeah. Yep. It definitely helps.
So tomorrow, when you're on the road against the Nationals, you need to come out swinging. I need a leadoff home run from McCutchen, which he's done. He has done it over the past couple weeks.
Yeah,
I would like to see the lineup switched around a little bit more. I don't know what's happening with Bryce. He had a rough series against the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say maybe. What do you think about Bryce going into the 2-hole? You have maybe McCutchen stay in the leadoff spot, Bryce in the 2-hole, Segura in the 3, Didi in the 4, Baum in the 5, Reese in the 6th.
Wait, where's JT at?
Oh shit, I forgot about JT.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So,
all right. Here's what mine would be. If I was like the perfect right now, I'd go Gene, number 1, leadoff. I'll give number 2 to McCutchen because he has the hot bat right now. I'd go Baum, number 3.
Bryce has to be in the top 4.
Yeah, and then I'll go Bryce 4, Hoskins 5,
JT. Where's JT?
JT 5, and Hoskins. Actually, no, move Hoskins all the way back.
DD 6.
DD's better than him. Right now.
This is what we said a couple weeks ago. Hoskins is a 6 or 7 hole hitter.
He is.
The 6 or 7 hole hitter.
When he's on, he's a number 4, number 3. So
because if you have Bohm in the 5, DD in the 6 or 7, but if you have Bohm in 5 and then you have Bohm protecting Reese. So if Baum can get on base and then Reese has somebody to go on base, you're perfect. Because McCutchen hasn't really gone on base. He's just hit solo home runs, which is fine for a leadoff hitter. Yeah. But if you have him hitting leadoff home runs and then Reese striking out, and then you have your 3-hole hitter who never has anybody on base for him to – the pitcher's never, flustered when Bryce is at the plate because nobody's ever on base.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you need – Gene in the first, Gene leading off, JT second, Bryce third.
It's weird because we have all these power hitters, but not like the set guy, who can Gene. Probably Gene's the best one for it, just to get on base.
Well, what do you think about What do you think about McCutchen hitting when people are on base? What do you think about McCutchen going into the 4-hole? Hitting cleanup.
I don't know about that one.
I mean, all he's hitting is solo home runs.
Yeah.
What happens when people are actually on base?
But we just recently saw that, and we just got to make sure. If he keeps doing it, obviously you got to move him back. But
I think the lineup would be solid with Gene. JT needs to be hitting it right in front of Bryce. I don't care what anybody says. It needs to be Gene, JT, Bryce. I would put McCutchen at 4, Bohm 5, Hoskins 6, Didi 7, and then Odubel 8.
Still a great offensive
And if you remember, Didi was an extremely great 9-hole hitter. in the
Yeah.
AL.
Yeah.
Like he had great at bats, great moments, great home runs in that 9 spot at Yankee Stadium. I think Didi is a natural bottom of the order hitter, which isn't bad. That's an important role to have in a lineup. So I don't know. I think that would be, I'm patting myself on the back for creating that lineup off the top of my head because I really think that would work out.
We got to email the Phillies front office or something because, I bet they're taking recommendations from literally anybody right now, especially for pitchers.
Yeah, well, the only problem is they need to switch up their bullpen rotation because that is just becoming terrible.
But I don't know who they'd switch in for because,
Alvarado, once Bradley comes back healthy, I think Bradley needs to be the closer. I think Hector Nervis needs to just go down to Lehigh Valley or go down to Reading. I don't care where he goes. I just never want to see him set foot in Citizens. He sucks. He has 2 pitches.
Yeah, he does.
He's
What is the fastball and the cutter or whatever that is?
The splitter.
Okay.
He's had the same splitter for 5 years now.
Wow.
People are figuring it out.
Yeah, it really is.
And he's literally like the luckiest reliever of all time. His ERA should be much higher than what it is.
It should be.
So he sucks. I like Kinsler. I like Coonrod. I know they've blown a couple of leads this year, but they are role bullpen pitchers. That's what they are. They are who they are. And once Bradley comes back, I think he needs to be the closer. Alvarado needs to be a setup man, with Connor Brogdon being the backup setup man. And then you have Kinsler and Coonrod. And then you need to find a long reliever somewhere. That's what the bullpen should be. Hector Nervis needs to leave.
And that's when you trade someone like Hoskins in the midseason for somebody that can be either that 4th rotation guy or be like a closer or something like that. Because we just need some sort of somebody in the back that can just rely on.
Yeah, I agree.
We need one of those guys who can close out games. Like, was it Brett Myers?
Brett Myers, Brad Lidge, Ryan Madsen. Jonathan Papelbon still holds the record.
What the hell happened? Where are these pitchers at? We're literally going into
I still don't
and finding guys that are inconsistent as hell and haven't played that many games in one season.
Before we end the show, I need to find out where Sir Anthony Dominguez is.
Yeah, dude, he's I don't know where the hell he's gone. I really don't know. Is he still hurt? Does he have the Markel Fultz lingering injury?
The first thing I looked up, Sir Anthony Dominguez is a Dominican professional baseball pitcher for the Philadelphia Phillies of Major League Baseball. He is still on our roster. I feel like we bring him up once every other podcast.
So he had Tommy John surgery. That's what it was.
How long ago?
That was almost a full year ago. It was July 20th.
Dude, I feel like I'm in the twilight zone.
It actually may have been before. That's when it was posted. So he got injured in 2019 of June. He was told by orthopedists that surgery was not required, but then missed the rest of the season. So, and then it reminds me what's that dude's name we had? The peanut allergy guy? There's something. It's always something with some of these players that you
well,
can
they guaranteed Sir Anthony $727,000 this year. So that's not a lot, but they obviously guaranteed him money, so maybe they're expecting him to come back maybe August.
I don't even know because they're not they haven't talked about him. I haven't heard anything in the Phillies. Have you heard his name really at all before right now? I haven't heard his name since Zaire Smith. I can't even think right now because it just makes me mad because he was maybe the only bright spot when we had those really shitty stretches where we'd lose a lot of games. We had the games and he'd have saves and it was just fun to watch.
Yeah.
Him and Alvarado would be a good would be pretty good closers or like eighth
Eighth
inning.
inning, seventh, eighth inning, ninth inning
Yeah.
guys. It'd be our freaking Ryan Matson, Brad Lidge esque, and who was the other guy? I forget his name right now. It'll come to me later tonight, probably. But yeah, I just before we ended the show, I just needed to get Sir Anthony Dominguez off my chest.
Yeah. Wherever the hell you are, Sir Anthony,
We need you.
we need you. Who knows? You can come back and blow a few saves, then we won't need you. And we
You'll
won't.
fit right in. You'll fit right in, sir.
I just literally anybody who showed a glimmer of hope, I'll take right now. I don't care if you were good in high school and you're a good high school pitcher and you haven't pitched since then. Please, we need someone.
Yeah.
Like or like the guy that follows our Phlite Zone on Instagram. Can you come up? Can you come play for us?
It's true.
What's his name?
That is our biggest flex.
Please, just please, somebody.
Yeah. I need to get his name before we leave the show. But yeah,
Are you talking about Joe Blanton?
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to find out the guy. Jeff Singer.
Jeff Singer. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff Singer.
We need you to come up, my guy.
My guy, the Phillies need you.
Yeah. All right, it's been fun. It's been a fun show. We'll come back next week. We'll talk full Eagles schedule because I know people are itching to talk about the Eagles. I don't know why people are itching to talk about those bumps.
Nope.
I know come August, come 2 weeks before the season starts, I'm going to be Eagles. I'm going to be green goggles all on. We're going to the playoffs. We're winning a wild card spot. I don't care what anybody. That's going to be me. And I hate this team. There's like really nothing to like about this team except for Devontae Smith right now.
Yeah.
And then the aging veterans that, they are what they are at this time. They'll keep playing for you as long as they can. We'll maybe discuss some Zach Ertz next week because June 1st is a few weeks away. So we'll see what happens. But other than that, it's been fun. Thanks to everybody who chimed in tonight. Mark, Benny, John, all of you. We appreciate it. Have a great night, my guys.
See you.